Good afternoon. Let me just make sure that I'm good to go here. Okay, looks like I am. So, good afternoon. Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have a really pretty card here for you today, and it is using products from the Season of Green and Gold Sweet Collection. And it is such a beautiful collection. The products that I have used today are the Season of Green and Gold 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. You can see from my card that I've got some cut out elements from the paper on the front of the card. Let me bring that up a little bit closer so you can see it. And so the dies from the Golden Greenery bundle, the dies will cut out components from this paper. And so this makes for a really quick and easy card, a really beautiful and elegant card, just gorgeous. If you don't have this paper for your holiday cards, you need to think about it. And the set as well to get the coordinating, stamp set and dies. So I've also used, as I mentioned, the Golden Greenery bundle. And this bundle does not have any sentiments, but it does have, two-step stamp images that you can stamp and cut out. And I don't know why. Oh, here are my dies. I'm like, where did my dies go? And then it's got all of these dies. So these are the dies that will cut out images from the paper or the stamped images. And then these are some additional dies that will cut out some beautiful elements for your cards. There's a nice pine bow in here, 2 different sizes. So just really beautiful, just a beautiful set. I've made a few cards out of this set already, and yeah, these cards make themselves when the elements are so beautiful. And then the greetings of the season, I have used some of the sentiments. Now there are dies that go with this. I did not use any of the dies for this particular card. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to set my card aside here and bring out some pieces. And like I mentioned, this card is really comes together quickly. I designed this card for the Happy Ink and Thursday blog hop. Hey Faith, thanks so much for joining. And so all of the measurements for the card will be out on my blog tomorrow. You'll be able to find those. And I'm just looking like, where is my... Oh, don't tell me I didn't cut the DSP for my card front. I didn't. So you're going to have to bear with me here while I grab that DSP. You always think that you're prepared, and then you find out, oh, you're not prepared. All right, let me see here. I think I need... And I'm spilling my paper all over the floor. That's the way it goes sometimes. Let me just quickly. I like to cut my paper down into 6 by 6 sections. Hey, Sharon. Thanks so much for joining. I thought I was prepared and found out I'm not. So I am quickly cutting my DSP here that I forgot to cut for the card front. And it's funny, I took all the pieces out this morning to make sure I had everything together. And guess what? I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't. Alrighty, whoops, I'm banging my desk. Sorry about that. Yeah, this DSP is, like I mentioned, it has, beautiful gold leaf accents on the paper, and then the reverse side, is just a matte finish in a different design, but just beautiful. It doesn't get any prettier than this, really. All right, I'm going to grab my scissors here. Looks like I am in need of a new cutting blade. When the edges of your cardstock start getting fuzzy, it's time to change your cutting blade. I use mine so much, so it gets dull pretty quickly. Nope, I still see a straggler there. So I just, just to clean those edges up a bit. I don't want any fuzzies showing on my card. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining. So I do consider this particular print directional. So when you're cutting your paper, You know, make sure that you keep that in mind, that you've got it turned the way you want it turned. I suppose it could go this way too. I just think that looks like up to me, this direction. All right, so I am going to mat this DSP to a basic black matte. I think the black adds kind of to the elegant look of this card. Black and white are just classic. They can make a card stand out for sure. And in this case, I'm using black today. So I'm just going to mat this up, and I'm looking for that equal reveal all the way around that DSP, and that looks good to me. Make sure it's stuck down good. Oh, one of the puppies is dreaming. She's growling in her sleep. She must be chasing bunny rabbits or squirrels. That's what I always think when they're dreaming like that they're chasing bunny rabbits or squirrels. And then I'm going to put this onto the front of a garden green card base. And yeah, I think we'll be done extra quick today because honestly, this card comes together so fast. And again, you know, beautiful design elements, I think help you create quicker. And then I've got, you know, this pattern, the polka dot, is reverse of this paper. And I'm going to mat that up to a piece of black as well. And here I see more fuzzies. So you always think you're prepared, and then you go live and you're like, oh, I guess I wasn't so prepared. I'm going to make sure that just fits. And this little section, this little section measures 3 7/8 by 3 1/8, which makes this 3 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to go ahead and mat this up quickly. And sometimes they catch them in their dreams. Yeah, I hope not, Mary, because my dogs would. Yeah, that's not a good thing for our dogs. They wouldn't let them go, put it that way, if they caught them. So I'll just stick with they're chasing bunnies or rabbits. They've gotten close to rabbits before. The squirrels always confound them. I swear, if Maisie could climb the tree in our backyard, she would. She gets up as high as she possibly can. And she's a riot. She'll stand under the tree and just look up in all the branches looking for the squirrel. And he always gets away, which I'm happy about. So I'm glad Mr. Squirrel gets away. But the squirrels are getting really active right now because it's fall. And they're collecting all their little nuts for winter and whatnot. And yeah. I'm going to pop this small square up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And you know what? I've got white. But let me grab black because that makes sense, right? Because this is a dark surface. I think we need black. Black is appropriate here. Let me get a few Stampin' Dimensionals down. So we are still enjoying some fine weather here. But I see that a hurricane is getting ready to make landfall, I guess, tomorrow morning down in Louisiana. So I pray for all those folks. Hope everybody is okay and safe. I think it's just under, as of right now, it's just under a Category 2. It's almost a Category 2. So hopefully everybody stays safe and there's not any catastrophic damage. The problem with those hurricanes is that they make landfall and then they can sometimes just sit there and dump a ton of rain, and that's where all the problems come in, that and the wind. Makes for a bad combo. All right. Yes, the squirrels do like to tease. I think they know that they can get away, Faith. All right, I am going to turn my card here on its side. This just helps me line this up. But what I want to do is I want to line this black little reveal edge along this little black reveal edge. And I want it to be centered from top to bottom. So I'm going to try and just hold it just so and try to get that lined up just like that. Perfect. Okay. That looks good to me. I think I got it. Yeah, it's pretty centered from top to bottom. Not bad at all. And then I had mentioned that those dies from the Golden Greenery die set will cut out these beautiful elements, right, from the paper, the Season of Green and Gold DSP. And we're going to arrange them on our card front just about like that. You do want to be careful that the little pine bough over here on the right doesn't extend past your card edge. So just be cautious of that. But before I do this, I want to go ahead and get my sentiment stamped. And let me find my ink. What did I do with everything here? I love foliage dies. And to me, it takes the work, really. I like to stamp, but I really love the foliage dies. So I have two sentiments here from the Greetings of the Season stamp set, Happy and Holiday. I'm going to stamp Holiday first because I want to make sure that my sentiment is sitting to the right on this label. So let me go ahead and just get this lined up, and fingers crossed that I get it straight. And this is kind of a scrolly. So when I'm looking at this inked stamp, I'm not looking at that big fat H or that loopy Y or L. I'm looking at those small letters. And that's what I want to line up horizontally when I stamp this. Just a little tip that I find is helpful. Obviously, we need to make sure that the loopy H and Y get in there, but I'm looking for those lowercase small letters to be lined up horizontally. And let's go with that. And you know what? I stamped this in Garden Green, and I don't want it in Garden Green. I want it in black. So let's try this again. Let's try this one more time. Get the right ink out. All right. Let's get the Memento out. I will need Garden Green, but not just yet. Let me get my Memento out, and let's try this again. And I want to make sure that stamp is dry. I just cleaned it off with a damp cloth. And you don't want to, you want your stamp dry before you ink it again. Otherwise, you could get an ink halo. And I'm just going to flip that label over. I did make another one just in case I need it. And my ink pad should be, my Memento ink pad should be nice and juicy. Hopefully I didn't just get it too inky. And I'm looking for that horizontal line up. And hopefully I didn't get too much ink jammed on that stamp set. I did. So let me try that one. See, this is why. This is why I cut extra sentiment labels. But I jammed it on there too hard. And it got all that ink got in between those letters and made it yucky. So let me get that cleaned out good. This is the kind of stuff that happens. And I'm just going to blot that and make sure that it's good and dry. And let's try this one more time. And I'll try not to get over enthusiastic here, inking up. Say, you need to remember the pat, 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 not jam. Just pat the ink pad. Sometimes these photopolymer stamps are a little persnickety in that the ink doesn't want to really adhere. And I've cleaned this stamp, so I'm not sure why it's doing that. But maybe I didn't clean it good enough. Okay, I'm happy with that image. I'm going to take that. And now I can stamp the Happy. And on my original card, I had these letters kind of looping together. They actually almost connect. Real card life making, yep. Or real life card making is what I meant to say, Sharon. Yes, you're absolutely right. It can be sometimes tricky. And then I'm looking again to horizontally line up those smaller letters. And let's see how that does. Cross your fingers. Hey, perfect. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but the loop on the end of that Y and the loop on the H kind of intertwine. And I really like that. I thought it was kind of cute. All right, so that is it for the black ink. Get that put aside. And I am going to go ahead and cut a banner end on the left side of the sentiment label. So I'm just cutting up a short distance in the center, and then I'm going to cut from the corner to that center point I just cut. And then I'm going to flip it over, and hopefully I didn't smear my ink. And flip it over and then cut back up to the other center point. And that worked out good. So I really need my sentiment label here. And what I'm going to do is what did I do with my black dimensionals? I'm going to cut, these are just half dimensionals, and I want to put a half a dimensional here right out on the tip of the sentiment. It is going to just slightly hang over the edge here, and then I will use glue to adhere, but you can see that that fits perfectly. It goes right up to the edge on the right here to the DSP, and then I've got my dimensionals under here. So let me go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back of this. So this section's going to adhere to this panel that is popped up on dimensionals. That's why I needed these two dimensionals here. And I might as well take those off now so we can stick this down. And I only want this sentiment label about, it's not quite half an inch. So like maybe 3/8 of an inch, approximately. It's not quite a half. And just make sure we're straight. And we'll go ahead and get that stuck down. Okay, now we can focus on our greenery here. So I just want to be careful that I want this to slightly overlap, but I want to be careful that I'm not covering up my sentiments, and that this sentiment, or that this die cut on the right, is not hanging past the edge of my card base. So I do need, let me see here, I do need to chop a bit of this one sentiment off. I'm going to kind of hold it in place there and just cut it right about there. Just take that tip right off. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place. So I'm kind of just making a swag from the top center of this smaller panel downwards. And I'm only going to use a little bit of glue if it will come out. There we go. Of course, it comes out all at once. So right at the center point here, approximately there, we'll get this glued up. And so that is, I'm clear here on the side. It's not covering my sentiment. And I did not, if you noticed, I did not put glue under these sections. I like those to kind of curl up, just to give everything a little bit more dimension. And then this is going to go right across the top there. So let me get a small bit of glue there on this piece. And you can see that I'm covering up pretty much, you know, where I cut that top off. You're not going to see it. And then this fella is going to go right in the middle. I kind of feel like, let me move this just a tad over. And then we're going to glue this piece on. But how easy is this? So cut the pretty greenery from the paper. Yeah, and basically just assemble. It doesn't get any easier than that. And that is our card front. Now I am going to dress this up with a bow here in a minute. I'm going to give that a second to dry. We can go ahead and work on our inside panel. I have a second sentiment for the inside of the card, and it says it's the most wonderful time of the year. And that is going to also be inked up in Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Now with a stamp this big, I like to turn my acrylic block face up and ink that stamp this way. I can perfectly see, you know, the ink. And I'm just going to line this up. We'll get this, you know what though, but it didn't see. I don't know why the ink doesn't want to stick. All right, I I need to stamp quicker is the problem. And we're going to put that right about there. Okay. Looks good to me. And we are all done with the Memento ink. And I'm going to grab my envelope. We're going to stamp some pine boughs here. And again, the Golden Greenery stamp set, these are 2-step stamps. And I am going to use Garden Green ink. And I'm going to stamp kind of what I call the fill first. And I'm going to ink that stamp up. And then I'm going to stamp off once. And then I'm going to stamp here in the corner. So that is kind of the fill, if you will. And in a minute here, I'll stamp the detail. I'm going to do that one more time. I didn't really need to ink it, but I'm going to stamp off once. And I'm going to come in here from the top. I don't think I did this on my original card, but I like it. I like that look. So this is the detailed stamp. And when I ink this up, I am not going to stamp off. So we'll get that inked up. And this is not an exact science, lining this particular image up. If you get close, I think you're good. But it definitely makes an impact, you know, doing that second generation stamping here. There we go. So that is the inside of our card. Give that just a second to dry. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp my envelope. Go back to the detailed stamp. Ink that up good. It's sticking to my ink pad. Stamp off once, and we'll come over here and just stamp up on the corner of the envelope. I know, pine boughs, you like them as much as I do, Mary. I do love them. I do love a pretty pine bough. All right. I did not get the greatest impression on that fill, but I'm not really concerned about it. It looks fine, especially once I stamp this over top. Yeah, you can't even tell. It looks just fine. Alrighty, so that is our envelope done. And yeah, card's pretty much done. I do have to put my bow and my gems on the front. Oh, there's the look, there's the dimensionals I was looking for. They were hiding. All right, let's get this on. Yeah, I do love pine boughs. I just finished a card with some pine boughs on it that I'm actually watercoloring. They're a lot of fun to paint too. They're fun to stamp and they're fun to paint. All right. And now again, I'm just looking for that equal reveal, and you can see that panel wiggling around, but that's a good thing, right? In case you need that wiggle room to make adjustments. And but I don't know what you guys think, but I really like these kind of the black accents on this card. Just thought it made it look nice. And again, just looking for that reveal all the way around. Liquid glue's giving me a second to make adjustments. And that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and get it down. Alrighty. So the inside of our card, very pretty. And then the outside. Let's get our bow on. I'm going to use, so the Season of Green and Gold Suite collection, the whole suite right now is not available. But the paper's available. The Season of Green and Gold paper's available. The Golden Greenery bundle is available. And the Greetings of the Season bundle is available. So there must be some gems or something that are not available right now in the suite. But that doesn't mean that you can't order the individual pieces. And the bundles are 10% off. And these are online exclusive items, that suite collection. Just so you know, you won't find them in a catalog. But if you go out to the online store and search Season of Green and Gold, you will find all of those products out there. So I'm going to use some of the Natural Tones linen thread, and I do believe this is Garden Green. I didn't look it up, but I'm going to cut myself kind of 2 lengths here. I really don't need that much. Let me see here. But then when you say that and then you cut it too short, there we go. I think that's enough. I'm just going to cut 2 lengths of this linen thread and give it a snip there on the other end. And I'm just going to tie a double bow, hopefully the first time around. Yeah, actually did pretty good. What do you know? Let's get it evened up here, though. It did twist on me a little bit. I hate when it does that. I just want to make sure it's even on both sides. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to put that right there in the center with a mini glue dot. Well, let me grab one of those. And we're going to put it right here at the top of our little pine sprig. And let me just trim these ends up even. There we go. Alrighty, and then the finishing touch. Now this is not in this particular suite, but these are the Druzy adhesive backed embellishments. And if you don't have these and you don't purchase anything else, you have to purchase these. I would think you'd want all this beautiful paper though, right? And the coordinating dies and stamps. But these Druzy embellishments are the bomb. They are so beautiful. And we've got a clear Druzy crystal, and then we've got what I'd call a champagne color. And I'm going to take a few of these crystals, and we are going to pop them right there on that small panel. So I've got 2 smalls here on my panel, on my smaller panel on the card, and then I'm going to take a large one, and I'm going to pop that right there on the left side of the sentiment label. And it just provides so much pretty shine. But isn't that beautiful? All right, we have one more thing here to do, and that is to get some paper onto our envelope flap, and we are done. Yeah, the Druzy embellishments are amazing. So Druzy crystals, I want to say that they're quartz crystals, and depending on what minerals are present when they form, they can be black, they can be clear, they can be white, they can be purple, they can be blue. I mean, they're just really unbelievably beautiful. And I would love to have like a tabletop kind of display piece of Druzy crystal. Druzy crystals are what grow inside of geodes too. They grow in other things, but they will grow, Druzy will grow inside fossilized clamshells. You can find them down in Florida, fossilized clamshells, and they grow inside the clamshells too. So pretty cool. But lots of sparkle. Okay, there we go. So that is my card for today. Super quick and easy. Season of Green and Gold. Sweet collection of products. Just beautiful. You know, if you're making holiday cards, this is the suite to have, in my opinion. I like them all. I have a lot of favorites, put it that way. But this particular suite, I think, is just, it doesn't require a lot of effort to make something really, truly beautiful. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I will be back here next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and wish you a great rest of the day. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.